Hello, fellow seeker. Welcome to the Wordscaper, your quiet corner for gentle reflections, a sanctuary where we can pause and truly listen. Today, let's talk about a quiet heartache many of us carry, a puzzling experience that can leave us feeling disoriented, even alone. We are told and we strive to change for the good, to grow, to heal, to seek truth, to embody our authentic selves. We commit to the arduous, beautiful journey of becoming more pure in spirit, more aligned with our higher nature. Yet sometimes, in the very act of ascending, in the shedding of old skin and the embrace of new light, we find that the familiar hands that once held us seem to slip away. We discover a curious, painful truth, that changing for the good can, paradoxically, feel like abandonment. Let's walk together into this tender space, seeking understanding and the quiet courage to continue our unfolding. We begin our lives as intricate tapestries, woven not just with our own threads, but with countless others. Our earliest experiences, our relationships, our families, our communities, they all contribute to the pattern. And often, these patterns, though comforting in their familiarity, are woven with compromises, with subtle suppressions of our true selves, with unspoken agreements to remain a certain way. We learn quickly that to be accepted, to belong, to be loved, often means fitting into a pre-existing design. We carry old hurts, old narratives, sometimes even unconscious fears or grudges, because those around us also carry them, and it feels easier, safer, to resonate with the familiar vibration. Then, a deep stirring begins within. Perhaps it's a quiet ache for something more authentic, a yearning for peace that the old patterns no longer provide. Perhaps it's a profound loss that shatters our illusions, forcing us to rebuild on truer ground. Or maybe it's a whisper of spirit, guiding us towards an inner purity, a deeper alignment with our soul's truth. We begin the sacred, often solitary work of transformation. We reflect more deeply. We choose compassion over anger, even when anger feels justified. We speak our truth, even when our voice trembles. We release old ways of being, old judgments, old attachments that have long kept us bound. We become less reactive, more grounded. We seek not to win arguments, but to embody peace. This is the journey of changing for the good, of purification. And in this process, something curious, even unsettling, can happen. The very people, relationships, or environments that were once so integral to our tapestry begin to fray or even detach. The laughter that once felt shared now feels distant. The understanding that once bound us seems to dissipate. We might find ourselves standing in a new, clearer light, only to discover that the familiar shadows we once shared are no longer populated. It's as if, in our quiet growth, we've inadvertently outgrown the very spaces we once inhabited, and in doing so, have found ourselves standing alone. This is the paradox. The more we purify our intentions, align with truth, and embody compassion, the more we risk feeling abandoned by the very world we once belonged to. Why does this happen? It's not a punishment, nor is it a sign that your growth is flawed. Rather, it speaks to the intricate dance of human relationships and the subtle energies that bind them. Imagine a group of people accustomed to navigating a dimly lit cavern, each holding a small, flickering candle. The shadows are long, the corners are obscured, and everyone knows where the safe, familiar bumps and turns are. There's a certain comfort in this shared dimness, a collective understanding of the boundaries. Now, imagine one person, perhaps guided by an inner knowing, finds a deeper light source, a radiant crystal that illuminates everything with unwavering clarity. As this person approaches and begins to glow with this newfound light, the dynamics of the cavern shift. The light reveals things. It exposes the forgotten cobwebs in the corners, the subtle imbalances, the areas where others might have been hiding or unwilling to look. This isn't an act of aggression. It's simply the nature of light. For those still comfortable in the dimness, this new illumination can feel unsettling, even threatening. It might expose their own fear of the unknown, their attachment to the shadows, or their unwillingness to confront the reality that the dimness was a choice. They might unconsciously perceive your light, your purity, as a judgment on their own state. It's not that you're judging them, it's that your newfound clarity acts as a mirror, and mirrors can be uncomfortable. This often triggers a defensive reaction. Those who are not ready or willing to embrace the deeper light may unconsciously or consciously distance themselves. They might feel exposed, inadequate, or simply disoriented by the new vibration you carry. Your clarity highlights their own areas of resistance, their own unwillingness to look at uncomfortable truths. This can manifest as criticism, misunderstanding, or a slow, quiet drifting apart. It's not necessarily an act of malice on their part. It's a natural human reaction to a shift in energetic alignment. They might not understand why they feel uncomfortable around you, only that they do. And so, they choose to move away from the light, retreating to the familiar comfort of their own flickering candles. This phenomenon also touches on the nature of truth-telling. When we commit to living and speaking our truth, especially a truth that challenges long-held illusions or unspoken agreements, we invariably face resistance. It's not a punishment for honesty, but a consequence of dislodging entrenched comfort. If a collective narrative in a family or community is built on a certain illusion, perhaps an avoidance of a past trauma or a silent agreement to never speak of certain things, then one person embodying a deeper truth becomes a crack in that carefully constructed facade. Consider the metaphor of a meticulously built sandcastle, cherished by many. Its turrets and walls are perfectly formed, representing a shared reality. But then, one person, driven by a deeper understanding of the shifting tides, points out that the foundation is eroding, that the ocean is closer than anyone wants to admit. This isn't an attack on the castle. It's a statement of truth about the reality of the beach. Yet, for those who are invested in the castle's perceived permanence, for those who derive their comfort and identity from its existence, the truth-teller is not a messenger, but a threat. They are seen as undermining the very structure of their shared reality, even if that reality is built on illusion. The natural human response to such a threat is often to defend, to dismiss, or to abandon the one who dared to speak the inconvenient truth. The hardship faced by the truth-teller is less about the truth itself and more about the collective's resistance to acknowledge it. Who and what of atonement? Why can genuine atonement, a deep, purified yearning to make amends and restore balance, sometimes be met with continued rejection, even abandonment? This is one of the most painful paradoxes. When we have caused harm, and through our own inner work, reach a place of true remorse and a desire to heal, we offer not just words, but a changed heart. We purify our intent, our actions, yet the offering can be left unclaimed. Imagine someone who, having caused a disturbance in a still pond, later dedicates themselves to clearing the water, removing the stirred-up sediment, and ensuring its clarity. Their effort is pure, their intention noble, but for the frog who has grown accustomed to the murky depths, who has perhaps found a sense of identity in the disruption, or has learned to use the murkiness as a shield, the return to purity can be unwelcome. The frog might not want to see the clear bottom, might not want to confront the reality of its own past actions in that murkiness. It might prefer the grievance, the sense of being wronged, because that has become a comfortable, familiar place, a source of identity or even power. This resonates with the human experience. For the one who has been wronged, holding on to the hurt, the anger, or the victim narrative can become a deeply ingrained pattern. It offers a clear explanation for their pain, a justified sense of grievance, and sometimes even a source of sympathy or attention. True atonement, if accepted, requires a fundamental shift in this dynamic. It asks the wronged to potentially release their anger, to step out of the victim role, to face the vulnerability of reconciliation, and perhaps even to forgive, which is a monumental, often terrifying act of the spirit. They may not be ready. They may fear that genuine atonement means the pain didn't matter, or that their suffering was in vain, even though that is far from the truth. The purity of your atonement, your genuine desire to heal, shines a light on their own attachments to the wound, making it unwelcome because it demands a transformation within them as well. The very act of seeking to purify the past can disturb the carefully constructed peace of those who have settled into their grievance. This journey, fellow seeker, is not without its trials. When we choose the path of purity, of truth, of growth, of authentic atonement, we are choosing to align with a higher vibration. This alignment, while deeply liberating for us, can inevitably create dissonance with those who remain rooted in older, denser energies. This is not about superiority. It is simply about different wavelengths. It is the natural consequence of evolution. The spiritual traditions, like those found in Zen Buddhism, frequently speak of the path to awakening as often being a solitary one. It's not that the awakened individual wishes to be alone, but that the nature of their perception, their understanding of reality, becomes fundamentally different from the conventional view. The more you shed illusions, the more you see clearly, and this clarity can isolate you from those who prefer the comfort of illusion. This isn't a judgment on them, but a deep truth about the divergent paths human beings take. Similarly, in the Bhagavad Gita, the concept of svadharma, one's own unique path or duty, implies that each soul has a particular journey of growth and understanding. When one truly aligns with their svadharma, pursuing truth and purity of action, it may lead them away from paths or relationships that were once shared, but no longer serve their spiritual evolution. It's a call to courageously follow your inner compass, even if the landscape around you changes, and some companions cannot follow. The text emphasizes righteous action, not attachment to the results or to the approval of others. The external outcome, including abandonment, becomes secondary to the internal integrity of following one's spiritual path. So, what do we do when this paradox unfolds in our own lives? When our quiet striving for good seems to push loved ones away, when speaking our truth creates distance, or when our sincere desire for atonement is met with a closed door? First, grieve with compassion. It is a real loss. Acknowledge the pain of separation, the heartbreak of misunderstood growth, the sting of being alone on a path you thought would be shared. Don't invalidate your feelings by telling yourself you shouldn't feel abandoned just because you're growing. Allow the quiet sorrow to be present. Second, hold firm to your inner compass. Your commitment to purity, to truth, to authentic growth is sacred. Do not let the discomfort of others or the pain of abandonment cause you to dim your own light or retreat into old, comfortable patterns. Your journey is yours, and its integrity is paramount. This requires immense quiet courage. Third, understand, don't blame. Recognize that others' reactions are often rooted in their own fears, their own attachments to their comfort zones, their own stage of spiritual readiness. It is rarely a personal attack on you, but a reflection of their inner world. This understanding frees you from resentment and allows for a deeper compassion, even in separation. Finally, cultivate your inner sanctuary. Knowing that external validation and connection can be fluid, nurture your own inner space of peace, acceptance, and self-love. This inner sanctuary becomes your unwavering home, a source of strength when the outer world feels less supportive. It's in this space that true connection, whether with self, spirit, or eventually with others who resonate with your new vibration, can truly flourish. Friend, fellow traveler, the path of purification is not always an easy one, nor is it always crowded. The paradox of purity reminds us that sometimes, in shedding what no longer serves our highest good, we may also shed connections that were rooted in those very layers we are leaving behind. It can feel like abandonment, yes, but perhaps it is simply the natural clearing of space for new growth, for new connections that resonate with the lighter, truer vibration you now embody. You carry a light that is uniquely yours, a light you have courageously cultivated. Let that light illuminate your path forward, knowing that the journey towards your authentic self is the most profound belonging you will ever find. May your heart remain open and your courage shine gently.